Welcome friends. So from today I want to share with you something that is so from today I want to start a new video lecture series that is typically on English grammar on the basis of different bank exams. Okay, so as I am also a aspirant of bank exam, so if you want to learn with me about English grammars, reasonings, and various types of things that is important in bank exam, then from today this channel is also for you guys. So without any wasting time, I would like to start today's first video lecture where we will going to discuss about some English grammars. Okay, so let's start. So first of all, we will going to learn about how to find errors. Okay, that means you will be given a question, okay, and you have to find out the error in the sentence, that is the grammatic error. Okay, so also I have learned this just today, so I would like to share with you guys. So let's start. So first of all, the question number 1, that is Rohan is elder than all other boys of this area. Okay, so we will going to start from this question. We will also going to discuss about Rohan later. Don't bother about that. So the first question is, either the student or his teacher failed in his duty. Okay, so now you have to find out what is the error present in that sentence. So the idea is, whenever we are using either and or to join two subject, or we are using neither nor, or we are using not only but also, okay, under such circumstances the pronoun and the verb will be decided by the second object. Okay, what I mean to say is that if you focus your second subject, that is his teachers, right? Teachers is plural form of the teacher, right? So the pronoun that was here, that was initially in question, was his, it will be there. Okay, because what I have told you, that whenever you are using either or, neither nor, or but also, not only type correlative conjugations, it is important to use the second subject to determine what will be your pronoun or verb. Okay, so as in question it was his, that means the question, this was the error of the question, so you have to correct it, so you will add there. Okay, so the here his will be replaced by there. So I think you can understand it. So now in the second question, either Rohan or Shohan will give their bike, and you have to find out what is the error in this sentence. So as I have told you, that whenever you are using either and or neither or nor, or not only or but also to join to subject, you have to focus on the second subject to determine what will be the pronoun or what will be the verb. Okay, so as our second subject is shown, which is a singular number, then we'll give there. Here the their term is wrong. In place of there, it will be his. Okay, that is the idea. That is our first learning from our English grammar video lecture series, where you have to remember about this, that either or, neither nor, not only but also, when we are using such type of things to join to subject, so we have to focus on the second subject, okay, to determine what is the pronoun and what will be the verb. Okay, so now let's learn something new. Those 5 students who are sitting there love one another. You have to find out the error. So remember it very carefully, that we are using one another for defining more than 2%. Okay, and when we will use each other, when we are talking about only 2%. Okay, So that is our second concept for today. So remember it, whenever we are using one another, make sure we are talking about more than 2%. Okay, and whenever we are talking about only each other, then make sure we are talking about only 2%. Okay, so now let's come to the next one. As a schoolboy, as we have just noted, he aspired to the glory of studentship. You have to find out the error. So it is kind of poetic line. So you have to read the question with very patiently under such circumstances, that as a schoolboy, this is one sentence. That means when he was a student, when he was in his school life, as we have just noted, here we means the poet. Okay, so he aspired to the glory of the studentship. Here he means whom? Here he means the schoolboy. Okay, so now this sentence is absolutely correct, because studentship, that means the life of the student, right? So if in place of studentship there will only student, then it will show any kind of problem, right? But as there we have studentship, so no problem. Okay, so here we have learned three things. When we are using either or, neither nor, but also, not only. Okay, under such circumstances, remember it very carefully that we have to focus on the second subject to determine what is the pronoun and what is the verb. Okay, and here we have learned that whenever we are talking about more than 2%, we have to use one another, and whenever we are talking about only 2%, each other will be present in the sentence. Okay, and as a schoolboy, as we have just noted, he aspired to the glory of the studentship. So in this sentence, if in place of studentship there will only student, then the sentence will be wrong. So here the studentship is absolutely correct. Okay, so here another important thing that I want to mention, that whenever they will give you a sentence and told you to find out the error, that does not mean that there will always be a error in the sentence. Okay, you have to be very careful in it to find it out. So now let's talk about the next one. There was a boarding here at one time in the past. You have to find out the error. So let me told you, only boarding word is a verb. Okay, and here we are wanting to use boarding as a noun. Okay, so under such circumstances, as we have already verb here, right? So as there is a already verb present, so boarding will not be the verb here, right? So this is the error here, that in place of boarding there should be boarding house or boarding hotel or anything, right? So that is the idea. Now let's talk about the next question, that is, anyone can qualify this exam if he tries. So you have to find out if there is any error present. So let me told you, there is no error here. And another important thing, that anyone, anybody are the indefinite pronouns. Okay, and wherever you are finding anyone, anybody type things, make it very carefully that you have to use masculine singular pronoun. Okay, or singular masculine pronoun. And here another important thing, that if in place of anyone there will be any boy, okay, so under such circumstances you have to use he. Okay, you have no other choice present, that you can use she, you can use it, you cannot use under such circumstances when there is already any boy present. That means if the sentence was, any boy can qualify this exam if he tries. Okay, so under such circumstances you cannot replace he with she, because here the gender is already mentioned, right? Similarly, if your sentence will, any girl can qualify this exam if he tries, then there will be error, because here we are already mentioning the gender, right? So how you could use he here, right? So here will be instead she, right? And another important thing that I want to mention, that whenever you have he, she, it, or any kind of noun as your subject, you have to add a s or es with the verb. Okay, so here I have also written here this one, that you have to use verb or s or es. Okay, along with verb you have to add s or es. So now let's come to the next question. When the king came of age, the mayor exerted himself to keep this power and succeeded. You have to find out what is the error here. So let me tell you that whenever you will get something like exerted, avail, resign, enjoy, absent, present, exert, there should be a presence of reflexive pronoun. Okay, what is the reflexive pronoun? We will going to discuss about this in our upcoming lectures. So reflexive pronoun means whenever any kind of pronoun which have the word self. Okay, for example himself, herself. So whenever you get something like exerted, absent, present, avail, resign, enjoy type words, there should be a presence of himself, otherwise the word the total sentence will be wrong. Okay, you have to keep these things in your mind. So in that photo we have learned that whenever we are using boarding as whenever we are using boarding for anything other than verb, the sentence will be wrong, because we have to also use either house or hotel or anything along with it, right? Because boarding here referring as a verb. So as here we are wanting to mention it as a object, then boarding house, boarding hostel or anything you have to mention. Anyone here is an indefinite pronoun. Okay, so you have to use, if you have anyone, that means where the gender is not clear, so you have to use he as a singular masculine pronoun. But whenever you are using any boy or any girl, so you have to use appropriate pronoun for that, right? So now in that one we have learned that whenever you get exerted, absent, present, avail type words, resign, enjoy, there should be a presence of reflexive pronoun, the pronoun which have self word, right? So that is the idea. So now let's talk about the another question. From who did you get this information? Okay, so subject means the doer, right? So here you is the doer, right? Because you is getting the information, and object should be here who. Okay, so now in place of who there would be whom in this line. Okay, so now before every big event I ask myself, have you ever lost some battle? So you have to find out what is the error here. So remember it very carefully, that we are using some for any kind of affirmative purpose. Okay, or when we are only willing to use some for telling a simple fact. Okay, so as here the we are questioning to ourselves, right? So instead of some there would be any, because any is used for any kind of interrogative purposes, okay, or any kind of negative meaning purposes. Okay, so some we are using for affirmative or simple fact explanation, and in any we are using for interrogative purpose and negative. So he has been working very hard, but due to his bad luck he is still not successful. So remember it here that still should be used before verb, but here still is after is, that is the problem, and still word is useful for some positive sentences, okay, or affirmative sentences, okay, and yet we are using for negative or affirmative sentences, and it is usually placed at the end. That means here the correct sentence will be, he has been working very hard, but due to his bad luck he is not successful yet, okay. So now let's move to the last one. So Rohan is elder than all other boy of his area. So let me tell you, whenever you are comparing age randomly, not you are confined the you are not confining the comparison in only the family. So under such circumstances, in place of elder there should be older term, okay. So the actual word will be, Rohan is older than all other boy of this area. And another thing I want to clear you, that after elder we are generally using two, okay, and we are using elder for comparing age in between family, okay, not when we are comparing age randomly. And when we are comparing age randomly, we have to use older than. So now let's move to the next one. White colonists commonly believed that the black people were inferior to white people, okay. So under such circumstances, here the wrong thing is, in presence of then there should be two, because remember it, whenever we are comparing by using term such as senior, junior, inferior, superior, exterior, posterior, so in presence of then there should be two. So now let's move to the next one, that is, sometime men born in affluent families feel that they are better than any man in the society, okay. So now let me clear it, that if we use any man only, then we are including men from those affluent families also, right? So we have to exclude them. That is why we will will have to use the term any other man in the society, okay, clear. Now today's last question, having visited both the places, I have come to realize that the scenery of Kashmir is better than Shimla. You have to find out the error. So here the idea is, we are using the term in case of Kashmir is the scenery, right? But we are comparing the scenery of the Kashmir with entire Shimla. So that is not good. Such kind of error is known as comparison of imbalance. So there should be a term called that of before Shimla that will correct the sentence, okay. So that is our today's English grammar discussion. So I hope you have learned, although I am also learning English grammar for my exam. So thank you for being with me in this class. So today we have discussed that whenever we are using either or, neither nor, not only but also, so and we are trying to join two subjects, we have to focus on the second subject to determine what will be the pronoun and what will be the verb, okay. And whenever there are more than two students or persons, make it very clearly that we have to use one another. And whenever we are only comparing, or whenever we are only talking about two person, we have to use each other, okay. And here, if in presence of studentship there will only student, then the sentence will be wrong, okay. There was a boarding here at one time in the past. So instead of boarding, there should be boarding house, boarding school, because according to the sentence we are not using the term boarding as a verb, but in reality boarding is a verb, right? So you have to use house or hotel or hostel type word here after boarding. So in the next one, whenever we are using anyone, you have to make it very clear that you have to use singular masculine pronoun, Okay, but whenever you are using any boy or any girl, then instead of he, you have to take care of the gender of it also. Okay, and here another important thing, after he, she, it and any kind of name, you have to use verb along with e or along with s and also es. Okay, so when the king came of age, the mayor exerted himself to keep this power and succeed. So here remember it, whenever you get something like exerted, something like resign, avail, present, absent type words, enjoy type words, mind it very carefully that after that you should also have a reflexive pronoun. That is the pronoun which are consisting with selves. In the next one we have seen that here the object will be whom. And before every big event, I asked myself, have you ever lost some battle? So we are using some for affirmative sentences and when we are talking about a fact. Okay, but here we are interrogating, right? So that is why we will use any. And any can also be used for negative questions. He has been working very hard, but due to his bad luck, he is still not successful. So still is usually used before verb. Okay, and still is mainly used for affirmative type sentences. Okay, so under such circumstances we will use yet. Yet is used for negative type questions or whenever we are using it for any kind of affirmative type. Okay, so here yet is more preferable than still. So now this is the last slide. So Rohan is elder than all other boy of this area. Whenever you are comparing age randomly, you have to use the term older, not elder. Okay, and whenever we are comparing the age in terms of family, so we have to use elder to, not elder than. Okay, so white colonists commonly believed that black people were inferior than white people. So here it will be inferior to, because remember it, whenever you find something like inferior, exterior, posterior, senior, junior type words, you have to use to. Okay, and sometimes men born in affluent families feel that they are better than any man in the society, so we have to use any other man, because if we use any man, so we are also including those men who are born in affluent family, but that is not according to the sentence, right? So we have to exclude those peoples who have born in affluent families. Having visited both the places, I have come to realize that the scenery of Kashmir is better than that of Simla. It will be the correct one, right? If we add that of, but when there is that was absent, it was a wrong sentence, because here the problem was comparison of imbalance. Okay, by adding the that of, we have solved this. Okay, so that is the first video for English grammar. So I hope you have learned what I have tried to explain you. So now bye bye. So I will also try to upload such kind of video more and more. So thank you, and we will also start another video lecture where we will going to discuss about math, and there will be another separate video lecture series where we will going to discuss about reasonings. Okay, so enjoy those classes.